Open. Today we're going to see the stepladder finals. 6 bowlers competing from across the province. The first match, Ron Robbins of Welland against Ralph Eckhardt from St. Catharines. The winner will be going against Terry Noon from Mississauga. We're also going to see Tony DiRienzo from Downsview, Peter Skirney from Toronto, and Greg Pederitis, the leader in the tournament, 27-63. He won the tie-breaking match against Peter by 30 pins. $5,000 to the winner from Lindsay, Ontario, the Master Bowlers Stepladder match play. 2 bowlers from the Niagara Peninsula. 6th place finisher Ron Robbins, 26-45 for his 10-game score. Ralph Eckhardt, 26-55. These are 10-game scores, and Ron Robbins is going to start first. He'll finish last. Gets a strike. This nice fall inside. This 1-8 side at Lindsay Bowlerama. Always friendly to the players. A lot of big scores, and certainly we saw a 4-16 game at the end, bowled on lane 15 and 16, but we saw some big scores here on this side. Ralph gets a chance here to bowl 2 frames in a row and carries it. Certainly a young player. Ralph just in his first year in the Master Bowlers Association, and second year actually. He cashed last year, played in Welland, Brunswick Rose Festival. He was gets a head pin, it slows him down, and it's 2 frames here. Robbins now able to work on that strike in the first frame. There's Ralph picking up the 3-pin, leaving the corner, giving him 23 in the first frame. And gets the 13. So with 36 through 2, now Ron Robbins comes up, and a chance to jump out to an early lead here. Ron with a big day today, 13-11, 13-34 yesterday. No, sir. Not going to move that much as both bowlers struggle a little bit. Looking at Robbins' games, 13-34 yesterday. All the games relatively close. 255 for his low game, 279 for his high one. Today spread them out a little bit more with 314. He's not going to like this one. Oh, he gets away with it to get a spare. 30 in the first frame and a little bit of a lead. A spare and puts it on the side and gets a strike. 60 through the second. Ralph gets a chance to bowl 2 frames now, going frames 3 and 4. It's going to cross. Yeah, that's what he wants. Looking at Ralph. Stronger yesterday, actually. 1382 in his 5 games with a 328 game in there. Today, though, came out of the gate with 355 and then struggled along. 214, 201, 1273 altogether. And he carries that one. So that gets him back in the hunt here. 36 in the second and on a double. Breaks. Yes, sir. Just carried it. $400 the loser of this game. The winner's guaranteed at least $550. In the 2nd annual Lindsay Open, it certainly proved to be a much more popular event. The 78 bowlers came this year. Last year, the first year of the event, 55 showed up, and certainly with a $5,000 first prize. Attracting the players, there was no trouble getting 78. Three women played in the event, 75 men, and certainly the ladies didn't make this list, but Brenda Heaney was the leading qualifier with Anna Swartzman and Mary Beard. No, Ralph's back in the ballgame. As Ron Robbins, sitting now 120 through 4, wants to pick up this head pin. And he gets it. 135 in the 5th. Now we go to Ralph Eckhardt working on a double. And Ralph, in a couple of years I spent in St. Catharines, Ralph was one of our senior bowlers at the old Latcham Lanes, now called Playmore. Well, the ball's moving on him a little bit. Wants a spare here, though. A spare will make it a pretty even game. Wants to give us some room on the left-hand side. And it holds the line for him. Gets a spare. 101 through the 4th. Working on a spare in the 5th. Supposed to 135. Nice close game here. $5,000 waiting. The largest first prize ever offered by the Master Bowlers Association awaits the winner. No, sir. A head pin in the 6th. So Ralph can pin these out, and Ron Robbins will find himself up about one frame as he heads up for his 6th frame with already having 135. Both these bowlers showing you certainly don't need to throw the ball with blinding speed to get results, and certainly with average 265 here this weekend is certainly a fine display of talent by both these players. So there he is, 133 through the 6th. And now we come up with Ron Robbins. There you see it, 135 in the 5th. So he's probably got an open shot here. One frame ahead. Boy, turnabout is fair play, and boy, Ralph has a sigh of relief back here as he sees himself still in the game. Big 6th frame head pins. They want to pin both sides here. Ron Robbins, one of the fine bowlers from Welland, Bolorama Lanes. Gets them both. 150 through the 6th and a 17-pin lead. Here's Ron Robbins in frame number 7. They've been moving the ball left to right. And it's going to come down to the last shot here. He doesn't get it. He's going to go open through the 7th. And certainly give Ralph all kinds of chances here to move back in on this one. Picks it up 165 through the 7th. Now here's Ralph Eckhardt with frames 7 and 8. 2 marks here, spare to strike. A couple of strikes would just give him some breathing room here and put him in the driver's seat. Nice 3-step approach. He's going to cross over exactly where he wanted it. It's a backup ball that Ralph is throwing. Heads out on the left side, moves left to right across the lane, crosses over on this pair, crosses right over in front of the head pin. Ralph goes through this deliberate 1, 2, 3. And he's there. That's what he wanted, a big double. So it strikes through 7 and 8. Ralph Eckhardt takes a bit of an advantage, and now it's up to Ron to put some numbers on the board here, shooting the 8th and 9th frames. I say the loser's guaranteed $400. He's no. Another one, so that's a head pin in the 6th, an open in the 7th, another head pin here in the 8th. And there's still lots of time. Ron can pin these off and still bowl 270. Not going to like this one. No, through the hole. So he's dropping his counts down, and now his maximum's down to 265. So he certainly needs to get this frame over with, pick up 10. Turns it over a little bit. Now get a strike here. Get something to go on here. 175 through 8. The 9th frame here. He needs a mark to give himself a look at it in the 10th frame. Because what Ralph's looking at now is what Ron's maximum 265. Ralph 133 working on a double. Nope. Not to be. And now it's his maximum is a lot lower, and Ralph Eckhardt is certainly looking at a victory here and going to be prepared for game 2. Bowling against Terry Noon. Now he's through the hole here. The wheels are off with Ron Hitpins in 6, 8, 9. The counts aren't any good. Gets another 10, 185, a maximum of 230, and no, the winner is going to be Ralph Eckhardt. Terry Noon will be coming up, bowled 26.86 in the 10 games. And while we're watching here as Ralph puts the finishing touches on this game. Just where he wanted it, and so he's going to build up the score. It gives us a chance to take a look at some of the other scoring here this weekend in Lindsay. Ralph Malcolm, also from Welland, at 26.35, and the best local shooter, Mike Wilson from Fenland Falls, 26.31. Just missed going on television. Gets another nice count. You might recall last year, Lindsay's own Larry Cavanaugh won this event and took home $3,000. And working with Sam White here in the local community, we're able to boost the first prize up to $5,000. Ralph picks up the corner pin, 251 through the 9th. Nice score here after a slow start, 133 through the 6th. It was really all that hurt him. Hit pins in the 2nd, hit pins in the 6th, and pretty solid game. What's there? 269. Just on his average, 265 he averaged during the weekend, and adds 269 here in this first game. As always happens, now the strikes come when we certainly needed them a little earlier. Yeah, it just breaks across. Yep. And gets them all. Our first game is over. As we check the scoreboard, the winner, Ralph Eckhardt from Welland. Ron Robbins gets $400, and Ralph heads up the ladder looking for that first prize. 2 of the stepladder finals. Ralph Eckhardt from St. Catharines going against Terry Noon. Terry Noon 26.86 for the 10 games. And bowled 269 in the first game. Terry had the choice here and chose to finish the game first. So that lets Ralph shoot 1 frame. Ralph just wants to cover this spare off. And he does. Now we'll see Terry Noon, one of the fine gentlemen of our sport. 50 years old this year, and certainly bowling very, very well. Bowls in the major leagues around Toronto. Vice president of the Toronto City Major League. Ball does a lot of moving. Gets away with a chop off, and Terry 26.86 for the 10 games. Yesterday had a 310 game, 314 as part of a 1370 total. Today is 9th game, 304. Covers it off nicely. Terry is a big winner last year in the Master Bowlers, $4,000 bowling in St. Catharines. He won the first prize. Walker's special old event down there. So he knows how to win. Working on a spare. Now he's got to get that ball out. He's got to get that ball on the left side of the lane. Let it come back a little bit. loser here guaranteed $550. I like that shot. The winner heads up the ladder. $700 the next step, then $1,000, $2,500, and on to $5,000. Well, Terry picks up 10. Not his best shot, and he knew it too. And here we see Ralph now. Interesting point here is Ron Robbins, the fellow who Ralph just beat, is sticking around. Coach him a little bit through this. Working on a spare. Gets it across that headband. He's got the ball rolling nicely. Leaves a corner, but spare here can give him a 30-pin lead early in the game. Whoa, didn't move at all. Wow, 58 through the second, so Terry Noon, the man of 9 lives, gets 1. Ralph pins it off. 73 through the third. Now Terry Noon, bowling frames 3 and 4. Ball moves across the headpin nicely. I always think the bowler that's moving up the ladder has a little bit of an advantage. They always come into the game a little bit warmer than the shooter who's been practicing, waiting on the sidelines. And again on lane 4, he's on the right-hand side, and that's twice in a row. He's going to compensate for that. He's going to get the ball out a little further. He does, and it doesn't come back. So he's sitting on another open frame. Spare and a strike in 1 and 3, but opens in 2 and 4, and Ralph sees himself sitting with a golden opportunity again. 15 there, 70 through 4. And here's the 31-year-old Ralph Eckhardt looking to pad his pocketbook. The headpin there, and it's both bowlers still well in this one. Picks them off here through the fourth. He can go to 88. But still with lots of frames still to play, it's anybody's game. Ralph finishes the fourth frame with 88, comes up to frame 5. Wants a mark here, something to leave on. Get some momentum going for when he comes back. Three-step approach, nice and slow. That's a timing problem. You're not releasing that ball with the slide of the foot. It's better. Yep, you can just tell the ball leaves at the instep. So we come back to Terry Noon, who's been chop off in a strike when he's been on lane 3. He's been certainly all over the place on lane 4. He's there again on number 3. The key is this now, he's been on the right side twice. That ball was definitely not on the right side. The left side, a strike, a big double, and certainly back in the game. There's a little pressure over on Ralph here now, working on a spare. He's going to stay in the left pocket and carries him. 118 through the fifth, and still in the lead here with that shot. Here we go, frame number 7. He's on the right side. Wants a spare here, frame 7. Working on a strike, wants that 30 count. Still keeping well in this game. And he tucks it in nicely. 148 through the 6th. Working at a 250 pace. Terry Noon has had good fortune here on lane 3, and then last frame solved lane 4. Goes up on this side. Working on a double. No. Whoa. The ball snapped back, and boy, a 33 count is a tough shot here. This can be made. He wants to throw this ball well to the left. It cuts back across the middle, so he's wide open now. And frame number 7. And Ralph picks up 13, 142 through the 7th. And now going to bowl frame number 8, and certainly wants a mark here to get something going, a maximum of 277. A strike over here the last time. And gets one here. Keeps him in the game. 142 through the 7th, strike in the 8th. Now it's up to Ralph, working on a spare here, and he's controlling his own destiny here. Working on a spare. Gonna cross it over. No, didn't get there. Whoa. Terry's still in this one. 168 through the 7th. Wants them both. 183. His maximum would be 273. Both bowlers well in control of their own fates. Picks off the 15. 183 through the 8th. Terry wanted to finish first. He's going to get his wish here. He's going to be able to put a score on the board and say to Ralph, go get it. Here's Ralph needing a mark here in the 9th frame. Ooh, troubles, a split here. You know, he's hit it all the time. Hit it last game. Here this game, he has a left corner pin, a strike, a right corner pin, a head pin, then a spare, then a strike, a spare, head pin. Every frame on the middle. Just one of the excellent young bowlers that's come through the YBC program, the Youth Bowling Council. 35,000 youngsters in Ontario bowl as part of the Youth Bowling Council every week. And as Ralph finishes those two disasters, he now sits 196. Head pin and a split, 196 through the 9th, 241 maximum. Terry Noon can win the game right here in 2 frames. Definitely wants this one out there. Brought a roar from the crowd, and now a corner pin spare is going to be corner pin spare strikes a winner, 245. So this is the lane that's given him some trouble.
Yes, yes.
Corner pin spare strikes a winner, and that's first part of it. 185. Go to 245, and that's going to be all she wrote. Very big corner pin. Covers it off. Now he's looking at a 28 count. 28 count to win. Must leave a corner to win. If not, Ralph still has a chance. No, sir. 23, 238. Now it comes to Ralph. 2 strikes in a corner, and he's a winner. .43 count to win. 2 strikes in a corner pin. He's got it. There's one. This ball must be a strike. He's got to be there. Yes, sir. Now it's a 43 count exactly. Will be 239. He's there. He has it. What a finish. 241, 238. And Ralph Eckhardt, throwing 3 10th frame strikes, wins game number 2, heads up the ladder. And Terry Noon grabs $550. Bowlaway Lanes and Lindsay and 31-year-old Ralph Eckhardt. 2 down and 3 to go. 3 Toronto players now left to go. Tony DiRienzo, Peter Skirney, and Greg Pederitis. Once again, Ralph bowls the first frame, gets started here, and he's the warmed-up bowler. And Tony wants to finish first, so he watches Ralph throw that strike. And we get a chance to see Tony DiRienzo, a left-hander from Toronto. Doesn't throw it very fast. Real smooth delivery. And he's on the side and off and running. Gets that first strike. He's had a few warm-up balls and threw one on both lanes. 26.87 for the tournament. 1 pin higher than Terry Noon, who we saw last game. Yes, sir. Out with a double. The loser here guaranteed $700 as we start getting into some of the big money. So we watch Ralph here. His 26.55 score placed him 5th overall. No, the ball didn't move back on him, and it's so important when it comes out of the fingers. If you palm it at all here, you get it back in the palm. It doesn't move for you. And Ralph now is going to find himself behind the 8 ball early. Ooh, a tough spare to get here this weekend also, and doesn't pull it off. So there's Ralph with 28 in the first frame, 43 through 2, and it's a little early, but Ralph has been able to come along in both games. Ooh, finds himself with a head pin here in game 3, and Ralph would beat Ron Robbins 269 to 230. Snuck by Terry Noon with 3 last frame strikes, 241 to 238. Is going to find out how to play catch up here right now, because as he picks a head pin in the 3rd frame. The pin's 12.55 through 3, and boy, Tony is sitting with an opportunity here to put some big numbers on the board. 45 pins a frame when you throw some strikes in a row, and they can add up in a big hurry. Tony DiRienzo, a plumber from Toronto, certainly been kept. Nope, he's going to let Ralph right back in the door. Tony's been kept real busy in the city with certainly all the building that's been booming. Certainly the plumbing trades have been busy, and it certainly keeps Tony busy on a lot of Saturdays. Well, it's been a tough spare, and he doesn't get it either. So here we sit 59 through 2, and Ralph with a strike open, not in a whole lot of trouble at this stage. Such a key frame, that third frame on a double. Fraser Hambley, one of the top bowlers from Toronto, said he picked every third frame in this whole weekend, and just destroys the momentum. But it's up to Tony to pull it back together right now. Great car racing fan. Tony follows the fast car circuit. Grand Prix in Montreal and Detroit. No, it leaves a corner. The ball hits into the lane and certainly takes a little bit of stuff off it. And only if you get a little smoother, but kind of cups the ball in his hand here. 1, 2. Right on it. Another three-step approach. So he gets a spare. 72 1/3 on a spare, and Ralph Eckhardt now only 17 pins down. Certainly with an opportunity to get back in this one. And here he comes. Here he comes. He's been on the head pin all day, and he's able to turn it around here. And as I said last game, many pleasant memories of St. Catharines and Ralph and Joyce Maxwell and Wilma Wendell. Many of the young players who have all now played in the Masters. And gets a corner here and wants to spare it. No problem. Two good frames here. Striking a spare would be two good shots. Yep, covers it off. 85 through the fourth. Well in this game. Solid shooting. So here's Tony now. Say 26.87 for the 10 games, 13.05 yesterday, 13.82 today. A big finish, 3.06, 3.46 his last two games. And here he comes. He knew that one too. 102, keeps his 17-pin lead. And that third frame certainly cost Tony a big edge and kept Ralph in the ballgame. And a strike here will give Tony a chance to add to his totals. She wavered, but she didn't go down. So we're going to continue with that 17-pin margin. And we got somebody looking for a couple of strikes here. One, two, three-step approach. Ooh, and he misses it too. That definitely has Ralph back in the game. Whereas the right-handers go left, right, left. With left-handers, it's right, left, right. As they slide out on that right foot. So there's an open frame, 145 through the sixth. 72 through 3, 73 for the next 3, and close to a 250 average, but he's given Ralph a chance to those last frame heroics, and well, it didn't break in. 105, wants to spare this now. Wants a spare here to stay in the ballgame. and gets it. 105 through the fifth, the spare. Full strike here, and he'd only be 10 pins down. Ooh, just what he wanted. 135 through the sixth, the spare, striking the seventh. 10 pins down, but the strike already on the board. Here's Tony, who's been no. Wants the 15 here, though, both sides. He's certainly giving Ralph every opportunity. Ooh, no. Let's get this frame out of the way. Gets a grab the 10 count here, which he does. Now coming up to frame number 8, 155 through the seventh. He wants to put a strike on the board here. There's still lots to score here yet. Tony can still shoot 290. Ralph can shoot 315. So there's certainly still lots to score here yet. But we're playing for some big money here. The loser winning $700. Oh, and Tony's missed it. Wants a spare. It's the shot he wanted. Gives him a spare. 155 in the seventh, spare in the eighth, and Ralph and Ron Robbins here have kind of been figuring it out. Certainly can be in control of this game, but it's not a time for error right now. He wants to put this ball out on the left side, let it cross the headpin into the right pocket. No, he's not going to do it. It's on this strike now. He wants the cover here. Wants the spare. Gives him a 30 count. So he's going to go open here. 160 through the seventh frame, open in the eighth, and Tony's back in the game, and with a good count here, is almost in the lead. Picks up the other five. 175 through the eighth. Ball's the ninth here. Tony wanted to finish first. He's going to do that. He's going to be able to put a score up, and we saw what happened last frame when Terry Noon did that, and Ralph was able to nip him in the last frame. Whoa. He's been deadly on the middle, but it's coming back to haunt him here right now. So as Ralph Eckhardt finishes 9 frames, 188 through the ninth. Now his maximum's 233. Tony DiRienzo 234 to go on to the next game. He's got 3 frames, 79 pins. Three frames, he needs 79, working on a spare. Oh, we got a big break there. Leaves the corner pin, goes to 183. So he's only looking for 234. Spare here would be a big helper. The spare here is a very big shot. He covers it. He covers it, and he knew it. So Tony sits 183 through the eighth, 233 being the maximum score. Put it this way, a strike is an automatic winner. A corner will have to be spared. A strike here is an automatic winner. Nope. Woo, 203. Now he needs a spare here. He can still get to 233 and force Ralph to throw 3 strikes. Yes, sir. Strike on top, and he's guaranteed a tie. Needing a strike to guarantee a tie. And he has it, and he knew it. So we saw the heroics last game. There's no question about this one. There's no 41s or 43s. He needs 3 strikes. Nope, not today. So Ralph Eckhardt, after disposing of Ron Robbins and Terry Noon, meets his match here in Game 3. Tony DiRienzo of Toronto. No, picks up the 10, 198. Tony DiRienzo of Toronto, 233. 198 for Ralph Eckhardt. $700 for Ralph, and Tony will now meet his longtime friend, Peter Skirney.